What's up, guys? I'm back here now with a video going over some stuff that I've been meaning to talk about. And it's been quite a interesting journey this past 7 months. Um as you know, if you've watched my other videos, I have been having an extremely hard time finding a job. Um an extremely hard time getting an interview at that. And I was sort of losing hope there for a second. And it was getting to the point where it felt pointless and meaningless to submit job applications online. Overall, since last year in August, I've been unemployed. I'll give you a little recap. I don't have very many views on my other videos, so if someone finds this, they're going to be completely confused. So I've been unemployed since August of last year up until now. I start my first day of work tomorrow, orientation, and we'll go into that. But the process of getting a job in 2025/2026 has almost been like chasing a ghost in a forest. It almost feels as if it was impossible to get a job. And although I do have a job now, it's not a very good one. But I kind of forced myself to take it just because I need to get into something, because, staying home applying for jobs and not doing anything is it's not really working. Calling around to places you've applied to is a good strategy to use, but it felt meaningless when it was my 6th, 7th week of doing that, and I didn't have any luck whatsoever. And that's kind of the whole point of this video. Is I think this online stuff, it really needs to stop. Now, I know that some companies, in order to get into them, there would be no way but to submit an application online, but I feel like the amount of competition that you have to deal with when you apply online to somewhere is honestly like, you really have to stand out. You really have to stand out, and your resume needs to be almost tailored to that specific job to even be considered for an interview. These past 7 months, I did my resume on Indeed, everything through Indeed and corporate websites like the Workday, and for different companies they use something called Workday, where you go and apply and you can have a dashboard of your applications and etc. But I applied, I believe, to Sam's Club 36 times, and I was declined 36 times. And before I submitted my first one, I was thinking to myself, like, it's got to be like there's got to be something like going on why I'm getting declined so much. I have a clean background, good driving record, some pretty good job experience, management experience. I was genuinely confused as to why I was declined this much. So, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You can't, I don't know if you can call them and, the HR, and be like, why am I getting declined? I know a lot of people that apply there, but specifically Sam's and Costco, I was really interested in, because, they start you off at a decent wage. And there's the possibility to move up. Like, that's a good companies, those are good companies to move up in. Um, and it almost felt like it was pointless to keep applying, because after like the 10th one of getting declined, and these are job openings that have been, yesterday or today or 2 days ago, and I applied to them and declined, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how, like, what am I doing wrong? I have a good resume, you know what I mean? I have experience with the positions I applied for at this job, and it was just a mess. And those are just two stores that I applied to, and I wasn't getting anything back. I was just getting declined, or how they send you that email that says thank you for your interest, but we have decided not to move forward with you. Best of luck. That's literally all I've gotten since August of last year, and I have been applying constantly. So fast forward to now, I do have a job now. The hours are hours that I have not worked since I was in my early 20s. I'm 28, which will be interesting, but I mean, it is what it is. The pay is really low compared to what I used to get at my other jobs. Now, at first, I was like really upset because during the job posting they didn't specify the pay range. So I'm thinking, maybe it'll be, kind of in the middle of what I used to get. I wasn't expecting, the early 20s by an hour that I'm used to getting. But I was expecting, something on the higher end of the teen numbers an hour, like 18, 19. So I went to the interview, and he says that it is $16.50 an hour. Okay. Now, if I was 21 or 22 or 20 or 23, I would be fine with it, because it's not a bad wage of pay for the age that you're at. Okay, but when you get my age, 28, it's kind of embarrassing. Now, I know a lot of people were like, well, you don't have a choice, and I get that. I really do. Which is why I took the position, regardless of, I wasn't very happy with the wage they offered. And I did the calculations, and I believe the more you go up, it increases about $150 to $200 on your check. So if I was getting paid $18.50, it would be like a little bit better than, maybe like $60 more than what I'd be getting at $16.50. So it's not a huge amount of money that's a difference. But my last job, I was getting paid 22, and going from 22 an hour to $16.50, you're gonna definitely see it. Now, that's what, that's a $6 pay difference. And it sucks, honestly. It really does. But you know what? At this point, my parents are not charging me rent, so I have the opportunity to make money and save it until I can afford a new place. Now, I'll be working from like 1 in the afternoon till about, I think it's 9:30 at night or 10, which isn't, terribly bad. It is quite a bit of distance from where I live, but, nothing that the freeway can't, help out with. But, yeah, I just, I wanted to give you guys an update, and, if anybody's going through that same struggle, you might have to bite the bullet and take something, because this job market is just awful right now. I don't know. I mean, inflation is high right now. It's been documented. Gas prices are probably gonna keep going up, which sucks because, you know, I used to fill my tank up with $30. Now it's about $55. So if it goes up $1, it's like more, the calculations add up. You know, you'll be paying about $20 more to fill up your tank or whatever. But I just wanted to make this video and just let you guys know that, you know, I have a job, and my experience with trying to find a job, it was probably the worst experience that I've ever had ever in my life. I have never been unemployed for this long. I think the longest I'd ever went was maybe about 2 months. What definitely wasn't 7 months. I have just never experienced anything like this until this last time around. It was pretty bad. And I recommend that, you know, if you're at a job that pays well, I would definitely recommend staying there for a while, because the way it is now with inflation and, you know, what's going on around the world, it feels like a lot of people are not leaving their jobs. So not a lot of openings are happening because everybody is trying to, you know, work so they can, you know, live in this economy. Definitely keep your job, at least till things calm down, if they ever do. But I just wanted to make this video and, you know, tell you guys that I have a job now, and after 7 grueling months, I think it's 7, right? Jesus, it almost turned to 8 months, almost a year without a job. And I will say that it's been probably the worst 7 months of my life, was trying to find a job. And the one I got, I'm not happy with it, but you know what? It's gonna give me some money, and I definitely need money. So, TLDR, trying to find a job in today, 2026, is almost like trying to find a ghost in a forest at this point. AI, oh my goodness, this automated systems, these online apps, I mean, they're good, but they're not great. Everywhere you go, they're going to ask you to submit an app online. And online, you need to, if you're unemployed like I was and you're looking for a job, tailor your resume to that specific kind of role. I mean, you're going to have to. There's just no way you're going to stand out. Unless you go work at McDonald's. But I was trying to not get into food. Thankfully, I didn't have to. That was definitely one of my next things I was gonna eventually have to swallow my pride and do. But, you know, I was fortunate enough to be given an opportunity. Not a very good one, but it is something better than nothing. So, until next time. So, I'm gonna add this in the first video when I edit it, but I just wanted to add this because this is extremely important, and this is what I have noticed for a long time. Okay, unless you know someone at the company and they can refer you, or you're pretty much given a handout because you know someone at the company, it's extremely hard to get a job as a candidate that doesn't have any inside connection within the company to get a spot there. This is what I've noticed. I know many people in my life that have been given jobs because they know someone. They know someone at the company, so they're already able to skip the line and get in. If you were given a handout basically with that, keep your job. Because I'll tell you one thing, it is extremely hard to be selected for anything unless you have like a crazy long resume with like 10 years at a job, 5 years, you know, in that specific area like of work. You have certifications, a good schooling, and you can provide and prove it. It's extremely hard to get a job, a good job. I'm not talking about a fast food job. I'm talking about like an actually good position at a company. It's extremely hard if you don't know anyone. I mean, all the people that I could think of that have a good position, they knew someone, and it's like they didn't even have to do anything. Like they were just able to walk in, someone already knew them, they were pulled right in, they were interviewed, and they were hired. It was like, you're very blessed to have gotten that opportunity where you know someone and someone likes you and they want you to come work for them. Because my experience as, applying to places as a complete, regular candidate, no inside connection, has been an absolute nightmare. And I just wanted to add this, and I'm going to add this into the together video, but it has been just a nightmare, guys. Just to like single jobs, like, like I said, Sam's Club, Costco. I know those are two in particular that are very difficult to get into, but I mean, if you were to have known someone or something like that, you skip the line entirely. So I'm not saying to like go to people that have good jobs and like ask them, make sure you're able to do the job first of all, because you don't want to, make their reputation bad. But that is such a big um such a big thing in today's market. Is if you know someone and you are interested in their kind of work, maybe go and talk to them. I did not really know anyone. I mean, I did, but it wasn't like, it was a different kind of situation where, I knew someone, but their boss knew me and they didn't really like me. So I didn't ever bother to ask for a job. Now I have applied there before, but like I said, it's not the same kind of result as when you know someone and they like you and they're like, yeah, come and apply, I can get you in. Having a referral is extremely valuable. And I never knew the value of it until, these 7 months have passed and I've been unemployed. But I will say, you know, if you were able to get into a good position because you knew someone at the company that was a boss or the owner or something in that kind of, position, you know, be thankful, because going into something blind as a stranger when no one knows, it's such a different experience. And I've realized that now. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to add that in. I know I ended the video, but I'm gonna add this one in too, because this was such an important thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's absolutely true. Um, wow. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.